What's up guys, Steve here from the Spektrum team, and today I'm going to be going over an AVC installation on this Traxxas Slash Raptor. Now, the reason why you want to install AVC is, one, you're moving away from your ready-to-run transmitter, which gives you a lot more options with the DX5C here. This is a $110 transmitter. It's going to give you expo adjustments, travel adjustments, better ergonomics. You're going to get the AVC equipment installation, and you're going to be able to adjust AVC on the fly. Just overall a better feeling transmitter than your ready-to-run transmitter. Not just in a Traxxas vehicle, but across the board, this is really an upgrade for you. We're going to be installing the SRS 6000. Now this is an AVC receiver, which means active vehicle control, which essentially just gives you steering management in a slide, so it'll actually counteract a slide, and throttle control too, so you don't completely spin out. So you can adjust that on the fly. It's a really nice setup, especially for a two-wheel drive truck like this Traxxas Slash. It just doesn't have the ability to go through gravel without slipping out. With AVC, you won't have that problem anymore. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, guys. First thing we're gonna do is pop our body off. There's normally body pins here, but in this case, I made it easy for you, so we'll just throw that aside. And then we're going to go ahead and grab a 2mm Allen. Real simple. I've got this little blade one here. We're going to go ahead and pop off. There's 4 screws on here. So there's 2 on the main receiver box, and we're just going to roll those off really quickly. And one on the other side. And we can get that out of the way. That exposes our receiver. And then we have this little cover here for the wires, and we're just going to do that just to make our lives a little easier, especially for this video. But you probably don't have to do this, but I think in order to get the antenna wire out, actually you do. So we'll go ahead and pull that off too. It's going to expose all your servo wires. Then lastly, to get everything out of here, Traxxas gives you this little tool here, and this is just kind of a socket for their antenna. So we're going to take off the rubber here, and then we're going to slide that over the antenna, and we're going to unscrew that just a little bit, enough to get the antenna tube out. And that should pop right out. And now that frees off that nut, and I can slowly get my antenna out of the truck. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to unplug these 2 wires. Now before I do this, keep in mind, you want to know which is which. So obviously I always tug on the ESC wire first and find out which one that is, and then I route that. You can either put a piece of tape on there if you're not comfortable, or just switch them out. Again, there's only 2 wires, so if you mess it up, just change them out. So we'll go ahead and pull the ESC wire. That's going to be plugged into our throttle port. Then we're going to pull our steering servo wire, which is plugged into the STR or steering port. It'll be the same thing on our Spektrum receiver. Go ahead and pull those to the side, and then this receiver is kind of glued down on the car. It's got double-sided sticky tape. So we're just going to push on that, and it will pop right out. So now that we've got our Traxxas receiver out of the truck, we do need to do one more quick modification. Now, Traxxas uses a Futaba spline on their receiver plug, and that's just this little edge right here. Spektrum doesn't use that, so our receivers actually aren't cut with that spline in place. So what I do, I think is a really good recommendation actually from Tom, was to use this fingernail clipper, and we just go to the side, and we just snip that little spline off. And that cleans it off nice, just like that. So now that we've got both of those leads clipped and they're fitted for a Spektrum receiver, we can go ahead and install our receiver into the truck. So I've got our SRS 6000 here, and I've gone ahead on the back side here and put some double-sided sticky tape. So I'm just going to peel that off. You can use hot glue, silicone, whatever you like, double-sided sticky from 3M or servo tape anywhere. You can just get that and pop it on there. And once you get this peeled off, you can easily stick it down into the truck. Now you want to make sure your servo box is clean if you've been running the truck outside in the dirt. Just get that nice and clean. Ours is brand new, so it's going to stick just fine. And then we want to maintain, look for our antenna direction. That's going to be right out the back of the box here. So we can put ours in just like this. So we're just going to push down the receiver, make sure it's good and stuck to the truck, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our ESC wire here. And we want to make sure that our white wire is on the inside, because the signal rail is on the left side of the receiver from my angle, your right side. So the white wire is going to go into that throttle port, and then we're going to grab our steering and do the same thing and plug that into the STR port. Plug that in right there, and make sure you have the polarity correct, white, red, black. Going this way. So now that we have the receiver mounted in the truck, we're going to go ahead and bind it before we put it all back together, because we have to remove this bind plug, of course, when we finish binding it. So grab your bind plug, and you're going to dump it into that rear port where it says bind/data. Plug that in there, and now we can go ahead and power on the truck by plugging in the battery here. And now we're going to go ahead and just turn on the ESC by holding down the easy set button here, and then automatically our receiver goes into bind mode. Then we're going to go to our bind menu in our radio, and we're going to go ahead and press bind. I'm going to hold the radio out. Once the receiver goes to a solid orange light, which happens now, the radio's going to come online. We're going to go full throttle, then full reverse, then full right, then full left. And what that's going to do is calibrate AVC, and you're going to hear it kick on here. And now that I've got the truck calibrated, we're going to pick it up and show you. It's actually, the gyros are active. So it's steering away from the slide, so it's working. If your steering servo goes the opposite direction during that calibration sequence, all you got to do is stop, go into the servo menu, reverse your steering servo, and then rebind and do that all over again, and then you'll have AVC set up properly. So if you guys find that your ESC provides no throttle input on throttle, what you're going to need to do is calibrate your ESC. Luckily, the Traxxas XL5 is extremely easy to do, so let's go ahead and show you that now. So what we're going to do on the XL5 is we're going to, from off, hold down this easy set button and hold it until the receiver turns, or the ESC turns that red. Blink once, and what we're going to do is pull full throttle now and hold it. And then it's going to blink red twice like it just did. Then we're going to go full backwards or full reverse. And then it's going to go to that green and then solid red. And then we've got throttle control. All right, guys, so I wanted to explain a little bit of what the AVC menu is on your DX5C. So there is actually 3 specific values you can adjust. There's steering gain, there's throttle gain, and there's priority. So what steering gain is, it's the sensitivity of the gyro as you're going down the road. So if you find as you drive full throttle that your truck is bobbling back and forth or not steering enough, you can adjust that up or down. Increasing it makes it much more sensitive to control or to adjustments that the model feels in drive, and then reducing it also softens the gyro. Same thing with throttle gain. If you increase that, it'll pull throttle out of the truck faster. If you reduce it, it'll pull less throttle and pull it out slower when you go around a slide. So if you increase that to 100%, it's going to really be active versus not being active. And then lastly is priority. So priority is really important, and really why the AVC system shines is because it gives you as the driver full control. So if you want less priority, meaning you want the gyro system to take more control over your truck, you turn that system down. If you want your inputs to have 100% control on the truck, and in the steering the gyro is not going to be on as much, then you want to increase your priority. So if that makes sense, it's going to feel like you have more control when priority is turned down, or sorry, when priority is turned up, and it's going to feel like the gyro has more control when priority is turned down. Alright guys, and that is it. That is the full installation of our Spektrum system into this Traxxas Slash. Go out there and drive, have fun, and enjoy your new Spektrum system equipped with AVC.